Today we are going to turn a coconut into a Jamaican fried dumpling. Welcome back to Soai. Now in my last video I did say to you guys, and I made a promise, that this year I'm going to visit 100 Jamaican restaurants and also try to make 100 Jamaican dishes. Quite frankly, I'm not even sure there's 100 Jamaican dishes, but this is going to be the very first one. Now, I'm certain you've seen a couple recipes out there where people have already made coconut fried dumplings. Now, I'm not really trying to reinvent the wheel. Most people, when they make a coconut fried dumpling, what they do, they add a bit of coconut milk powder to it. But I'm going to take it a step further, where we are going to actually make coconut flour to make our dumpling. Now quickly, let's examine what exactly is a coconut. Is it a fruit? Is it a vegetable? Is it a nut? It's not a nut, it's weird. It's called a coconut, but it is not a nut. It is in fact a fruit. Now in Jamaica, coconut is a very popular ingredient. Like, who doesn't like a coconut? Now with a coconut, you can make several things or get several things from it. So you can get the coconut water from the coconut. You can have the food that's inside, which some people might call it the jelly. You can get coconut milk. You could get coconut oil, and you can also get coconut flour. So quite simply, in this video, I am going to first get some coconut milk from the coconut, and after squeezing the coconut, you'll get the trash and all of that. Now, when it comes down to cooking food, I think you should try to use as much of your ingredients as possible. And you did say you're making a coconut fried dumpling. Why not infuse more coconut into it to get more of a coconut flavor? I'm going nuts saying coconuts. So instead of throwing away the trash, we are going to dehydrate that, mill it, and turn it into a flour. Now, quite frankly, do you guys at home have to do all of that to get a coconut fried dumpling? No. You can go to the supermarket and you can buy the coconut flour there. Actually, that's how I got inspired. I saw the coconut flour and I was just like, wow, I've never seen this before. Now, one thing about me, I like knowing exactly what's going into my food. So instead of getting any additives or fillers or preservatives, I'm going to make the flour on my own. If you guys want to try this at home and you have a dehydrator, feel free to do it. Now, this is the part as a kid that I hated the most, and I don't even know why I'm smiling, because I really hated this. If you guys are from a Caribbean family, you know what I mean. To husk the coconut was a responsibility mostly for the kids, and it's very difficult. My thinking is that these adults did not want to do it, so they passed on the responsibility to us. Fortunately enough for me, I've gotten a lot more experience where I know how to do it on my own. Or maybe that's what my parents was trying to do back then, to teach us responsibility. I never liked the responsibility. Now, I did mention that coconut actually has coconut water, which you will get from this coconut here, and I do not want to waste that, so I'm gonna show you guys a quick trick. During this series, I'm gonna be huxing a ton of coconut, so pay attention because I might not show you this trick again. So if you look at the coconut, it appears like it's a face, right? Like two eyes and a mouth. I'm guessing that this bigger one is going to be the mouth, so this is what you're going to try to pull. Let's see. Oh, I got it right. Okay, I got it right. So, oh, now this is the scary part. I really hope that the coconut is fresh. I really hope that it's fresh because I only have one. I just knew that the coconut was going to be spoiled. I can smell it in the water. It is rancid. This is not a good coconut. FYI, when you go to the store, usually it's best to crack it there and see if the coconut is good or not. Hopefully the meat inside is good. I am freaking nervous. This is not a good sign. So if you have something heavy at home, for example, me, I'm using a butchering knife, it's going to be good enough to crack the coconut. Now, what I like to do is to kind of hit it around in circles. And what that does, it creates like these little small fractures, that just go around and around. All right. The coconut itself smells good. Video done. All right, so this morning I went to the supermarket and I got some fresh coconuts. What I did, I made sure in store that they cracked it for me, so I knew that it was good. I also checked out the price for the coconut flour. It was somewhere just over $7. Now I got 2 coconuts for about $5, and the trash is something that we are going to throw into the trash. If you have the time, again, you can make your own coconut flour and save you the money of $7. I mean, to make coconut flour is not that hard. All right, here's the part that I hid as a kid. So there are several hacks you can use to open a coconut very easily. One of them is to actually light fire underneath it, get it kind of hot, and it's going to create a separation from the shell and the meat on the inside. If you don't have the time for that, maybe you have an induction type stove so you can't do that. You can also put it in the freezer, and that also helps as well. If you don't want to do all that, for some reason you don't have a freezer, what you could do, like I was doing before, is just hitting around in Jamaica we call it the hooks, just over and over and over. What you start to do is creating separation from the coconut, so that way when you pull it, you don't have just a little piece coming off, it starts coming off as more of a whole piece. And funny enough, this is something that I learned just off experience. You can actually hear the shell starting to hollow out a little bit, so you know that the meat is separating. For example, this one here, you literally see where it could just spin off it because of what I did before. I wish I'm a good experience from making a lot of cornmeal pudding. Look at this. Without even applying a knife, it just falls right off. All right, so we washed off our coconut. Now, if you know a Jamaican, you will know that Jamaicans are typically very clean people, especially in the kitchen. We even wash off our hearts. If a Jamaican says that they washed off their heart, they're using a part of the coconut, which is the coconut water. So whenever we say we want to get rid of bad mind, meaning that we don't want to have a cruel or evil heart, it means that you need to wash off your heart by drinking some coconut water. So what I'm gonna do right now is, first of all, have a piece of coconut. You are not gratoring this if you did not eat a piece of the coconut. This is a tradition. If you know, you know. Now that I've done my ancestral ritual, what I'm gonna do is to chop up the coconut into smaller pieces, and then we're going to blend it. You know what's funny? Back in the mid-90s, I could have been easily identified as a blender. But today we have things like these, like, what a time to be alive. FYI, the water out in this part of New York looks like coconut milk. Well, really and truly, it's the high chlorination. If you do it very early in the day, you usually find that the pH is somewhere about 8, but if you let the water run for about 30 seconds or so, the pH drops to about 6. I know this because I'm a plant dad and I have a pH meter. So don't mind the look of the water. If you look closer here, you realize that the chlorine is going away, because chlorine is a gas, so if you leave it open for at least about 24 hours, it's going to be almost non-existent of chlorine in there. See, look at that. It's going away. All right, so don't judge me. All right, so now our coconut is done. Wow, I'm not weak. Some coconuts are just super oily. So it got, I thought this would, never mind. I gotta find the shrimp. There we go. Now that we've done that, we are going to now juice the coconut. Now, the part that was very hard for me as a child was you had to squeeze the coconut with your hands. And even as much as I've grown now, it's still very hard. You've done all this work, you want to get as much of the coconut milk out of the coconut, but we're going to be making coconut flour. So on top of that, I would like the trash to be as dry as possible. That's going to even help the dehydration process to be even quicker. I'm gonna show you a quick trick that I use. So I really love using a cheesecloth. With the cheesecloth, you're gonna be able to strain the coconut milk, but it's gonna give you more leverage on it to actually squeeze it. And I'm gonna show you guys how I do that. So what I like about these is that you can actually reuse them. So I'm gonna put the link to these in the description box. You can go and get them on Amazon. Everything that you buy with my links, I will get a little kickback. So if you wanted me to make more cooking videos or more travel videos, do grab you these. So we've gotten our coconut milk. I got about 3 bags, and the best part about it is that I'm gonna have coconut milk for later on if I want to make some rice and peas, or maybe I want to make a cornmeal pudding. So doing one task gives me additional options. Now I do have the trash left back, which you guys can see here. I'm gonna turn this into the coconut flour. This here, if I'm to price it based on the bag that's in stores, is easily somewhere around maybe $4. So one coconut, we took it and we made it into several different things. Now in the dehydrator, I'm gonna do it at 160 degrees. Now you can do it in a toaster oven or an oven, but by right, if your oven doesn't go very low, if it doesn't go as low as like 130 to like about 160, you are no longer dehydrating it, you are now toasting it, and it's not the same thing. You're almost burning the flour. You want it to be slow and low. So we're gonna take this, throw it onto the tray, and the main thing, do not mound it up. Like, don't have too much on the tray. You want it to be kind of flattish. Makes sense. I mean, the more you have is gonna be more moisture. The less you have is gonna be the quicker it dries out. So about this height, you guys can see the height, should be about good. Guys, to all the kitchen them small in New York, I literally have to go all the way outside, not outside, but to use my workbench. It's crazy. Ugh, kidney. Yuck. So kidney is the meat. Is it really even the meat? I don't even know. Well, kidney is what I'm going to be making with the coconut fried dumplings today. Now, a part of one of the reasons why I wanted to do these 100 Jamaican dishes is, for one, sometimes I forget some recipes that I know how to make. I haven't made kidney in easily over a year. The next thing is, Jamaica is mostly known for things like the beef patty, jerk chicken, oxtail, curry goat, and there are some amazing dishes that get left behind. Now, I understand why a lot of people might be on the fence with kidney because, for one, it doesn't look appetizing at all. Now, I grew up in what I would consider a poor family or a trying family. So growing up, you know, we had to eat some of the dishes that weren't the most expensive, and kidney and liver and saltfish back then weren't very expensive at all because it would be considered for most people as a refused item. Now, if you haven't had kidney before, I can tell you it is delicious. But there are a couple of flavor profiles that you have to bear in mind. For one, you can see how it looks. It has a very gamey type flavor. Two, some people might say it's kind of a little bit bloody. And if you say bloody, then you know it kind of has an irony, kind of metallic type of taste. And that's why when you're gonna make kidney, I would tell you to over season it. Well, not over season it, but you're gonna try to put as much seasonings as you like. So for me, I'm gonna be doing like things like my special soy sauce. That's my dehydrated scallion, garlic, peppers, pimentos, everything all in one. I'm gonna be adding that. If you wanna add things like your Maggi seasonings, your garlic powders, your peppers, anything that you wanna add to it, do add it, because you're trying to get this to have more of an umami flavor. You know, sometimes when you're cooking certain meats, you want that meat flavor to still be there, so you know, oh, I'm eating pork, or oh, I'm eating shrimp. For liver, you do not want to really taste the liver. You get what I'm saying? Cool. So that being said, that's what I'm going to be having. And I paid $5.32 for 1.78 ounces. So there you see, it's not the most expensive thing. Liver, it's a Jamaican classic if you ask me, and it's something that you should definitely try from someone who knows to make it really good. So another closer look at it, it kind of looks like a brain. So right now we're wow, I'm not appetizing you guys at all, right? But trust me, it's really good. So to clean it up, what we're gonna do, if you flip it around here, you're gonna see all of this. We're gonna remove that because this part is very tough. I'm here cutting up this thing, then the phrase came to me, chopped liver. And I'm like, yo, when somebody say yeah, chopped liver, you know, it's nothing good. Now that our liver is chopped up, it looks far less intimidating. I removed as much of the white thing as I could. I would say at least 95% of it. And we're gonna so wash it off now and then chop it up into smaller bites. I want it to be not too chunky, less intimidating. So what a lot of people don't know is that kidney soaks up a lot of flavor. So again, season it anyhow you like. Whatever flavors you think will go good for it, throw that onto your kidney. Now I'm basically done seasoning, but I'm just gonna leave this long enough for my coconut flour to be done. My house smells like coconuts right now, and that's always a good thing. So our coconut has now been dehydrated. I did it for 165 for 3 hours. Now, at this point, you probably could take this and make some coconut cookies with it, but we are just going to blend it up in our blender, and then we're gonna have coconut flour. All right, so it's time for us to cook the liver. Quick and easy. All I'm going to do is store it into some hot oil really quick, give it a quick fry up, and then I'm gonna saute some aromatics, so your onions, your garlic, your scallion, your thyme, your pimento, and then throw some water in there. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. Season it to your flavor. Do I have to tell you how to season your food? No, I don't, because I'm gonna do something here, and some people are just not gonna agree with it, but that's how I like it. That tastes like a back in the day classic dish. This is the first one, and I chose a dish that wasn't like the hottest or sexiest, but if you know good kidney, you know this one is delicious. Now what we're going to do right now is to fry up the dumplings. I've done a video recently. I will put the link in the description or somewhere up top here in the video so that you guys can check it out in detail. I'm not going to spend too much time showing you guys how to do this because it's basically a fried dumpling. The only thing is it has coconut flour in there, and that's the difference. So we have the flour in the bowl already. We'll have some sugar and a little bit of salt. I like using brown sugar because it gives it a nice color. Toss that in. I don't want it to be sweet like a festival. I just want it to be just right. And here we have our flour, our coconut flour to be exact. Double acting baking powder. Now let me put a little bit more. So as nice as a coconut fried dumpling sounds, coconut flour doesn't have gluten in there. And gluten for me kind of makes dumpling a little bit nicer. I mean, I had a friend and she was allergic to gluten. I don't know how she survived on this planet because gluten for me, it's nice. So I added a little bit more baking powder just to compensate for that. And yeah, usually when I make my flour, I use kind of like room temperature water, but Cold water, they say, is better to make it flake. For me, the warm water works out very well, but today the coconut milk is in the fridge, so I am going to be using cold coconut milk, and let's see the difference. So last night I forgot to close out the video. It is the next video. Currently snowed in. There is a... Oh, no. Why am I so dramatic? We're not snowed in. It is a snowstorm currently. So I got up and I made some more coconut fried dumplings, and they are delicious. Now, one thing to add, if you're going to be making them with completely coconut milk, do bear in mind it's going to be a lot softer and fluffier. If that's the type of dumpling that you're going for, definitely do that. If you don't want it to be as fluffy, you want it to be more of a dense kind of dumpling, then just use the coconut flour only. However, that is the first of 100 recipes that I'm trying to do that are Jamaican inspired or whatever we have back home in Jamaica. If you guys have any comments or any suggestions for the next video that I could do, what would you like to see? Drop it in the comments and let me know. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Remember 3 things: love, nature, and adaptation. And always remember to keep the link.
Take me back where I belong. I want it all. I had a feeling, but the feeling is all gone.